And it says recording. I think it's maybe recording. Come on. Well, what is up? This is the War Dog. Welcome to Comic Book Theater with my guest host, JR. What's going on, JR?
How's it going, War Dog?
It's going great. We got some awesome guests today. We got Robert Cassie from Texas. What's going on, Robert? That's all you got to say. And we got Chris Pennybacker from the great state of Ohio and a major Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan who can tell us a little bit about Jennika and how he feels about her. What's going on, Pennybacker?
Not much. There's not much that I'm willing to do or not to do for a roll of toilet paper, know what I mean?
I hear you, brother. You just got to get some paper towels and cut them in half.
Hillbilly bidet, man, is the way to go.
I got off.
Yeah.
All right, John, so why don't you tell us what we're going to talk about today?
Well, looks like we're going to definitely talk a little bit Jennika today for sure. But let's start out real quick, just so you guys know, monitoring the chat over on Facebook. If you guys got questions about the topic, if you want to chime in, that's the place to do it for sure. But what we're really going to talk about, our actual jumping off point tonight, is going to be the new Warriors. Now, I know that this is a little old, but comic books, we could talk a little others, but since we kind of missed it the first go around, I want to talk with you guys about it. We've got a couple new characters. We've got Screen Time, Snowflake, Safe Space, and Trailblazer. Those are the character names. Just based on character names, give me first impression. I know you guys know more about them, but just the character names themselves, what are you guys' first impressions of that group?
You want me to go? I'll go first. I mean, I've seen this, and it looks like a train wreck to me. Trailblazer, I love the Transformer Trailblazer. It's one of my favorites. That's like, she kind of looks like Dora the Explorer. She's got a magic backpack that I guess maybe gives her whatever she wants. Safe Space and Snowflake. I don't know. I feel bad for, like, they want to bring more diversity in, but I feel bad for the black dudes because I don't see any black dudes dressing in pink wanting to be, I think it's Safe Space. Sorry, black dudes, you guys are getting screwed over. I love you, and I just want to say you're getting screwed over with this one. And then I think isn't there one that looks like Cyclops? Is that Screen Time?
That's Screen Time.
So he's got magical internet powers or something, which I don't know. I mean, it seems all pretty lame to me. I guess, maybe I'll have to read the first one and see if it's any good. But by the looks of the characters, I don't have much hope. I mean, Robert, what are your thoughts, man?
Man, yeah, it definitely sounds like a train wreck. First of all, it sounds like they're trying to imprint some names that are, it's just not that clever, man. I
That's the
don't
truth.
see that. Yeah, Snowflake, come on. They could have done better than that. I could do better than that in my sleep. So I think what they're doing is they're trying to push diversity, and unfortunately, they're missing the mark. Like when they had the problem with diversity with Marvel characters, and they said the first black Spider-Man was Miles Morales. He's actually mixed, but the first black Spider person was Spider-Woman. Do you remember that? Does anybody remember that?
I'm trying to think back here. How far back are we going on this? Because
1985.
not really. I have to reread that. Are you talking about Secret Wars?
Yes.
When she showed
Not
up in Secret Wars?
No, she didn't show up in Secret Wars, but it was about that time.
I have to go back and relook. But I don't doubt you. I don't doubt you. There's a lot. Look, man, comic books is rife with revisionist history as a general rule. Everything gets retconned. So I'm not like, it's almost as bad as wrestling is. By the way, we're recording during WrestleMania, the first half of WrestleMania this year. But I digress from that. Comic books are almost as bad as wrestling at retconning and pretending like things didn't happen and then touting that this is the first blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that doesn't shock me at all. That doesn't
Wait,
shock me
no,
at all that they screwed that up.
I messed up. She wasn't Spider-Woman. She was Miss Marvel.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, yeah,
Okay,
no, I do.
Yeah.
Monica Rambeau? Is that who that
That's
was?
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I know a thing or two. Just one or two.
Yeah,
Kenny
so
Backer?
But it was the Miss Marvel Kamala Khan. They said it was the first. It was the first
Oh.
diversity character coded the name Miss Marvel, but Monica Rambeau was the first Miss Marvel. She was black.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not the first Miss Marvel, but the first Miss Marvel that was diversity. Anyways, when they put her in, it wasn't like they shoehorned her in. She actually made a good character at the time. The previous Miss Marvel had been removed. I'm going on, I know, and this is off topic.
No, go ahead, man.
But she had been removed because Rogue had removed her powers and things like that, and she had the whole rape story. Then they brought in Monica Rambeau, and she was a lot better put in because of how the story had played out.
Which drives home the point that I make constantly of you can do a character who is diversity based as long as you write them properly and give them a compelling storyline and you don't shoehorn them in. That's been my point from day one with all of them. I do kind of want to get Pennybacker's thoughts on just the names too. How do you feel about the names?
Gotta admit, first off, knee-jerk reaction. This is the first time I'm hearing about new warriors. Secondly, hearing the names. If I saw that on the display shelf at my shop, I'd keep walking. You know what I mean? Like if I saw the title, I'd open it up and I'd flip through it. If I saw the names, I'd put it back and I'd keep walking. It feels very uninspired. And then but then on the other side of that, I guess it depends on how they would market it, because whenever I hear the names Safe Space and Snowflake, that kind of almost makes me wonder if they're going to kind of like, play with that where it's like kind of like humorous. And then if they do that, there's going to be a fine line, because if they think that those are going to be the funny comic relief characters in today's time, that's probably not going to work and probably going to rifle a few feathers, unless that's what they're wanting to do on the onset. But however, I don't know, but I'm just saying that's what it kind of sounds and feels like to me. But like I said, if I saw that, flip through it, saw the names, I'd put it back and keep walking.
Yeah, those names by themselves are a little bit insulting. I mean, first of all, those are kind of like derogatory names for people. I mean, not Trailblazer or Screen Time. Although, I mean, the way that Snowflake and Safe Space. I mean, come on. Would you want to be called Snowflake or Safe Space?
Well, but they've got a vampire-looking character called B Negative. I mean, dude, come on,
God.
really? You're gonna make an emo vampire character named B Negative?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was a 90s vampire too.
Look, this is. I'll tell you right now, it really does feel like they went to the Tick universe and were like, hey, lame superheroes, let's do this, but we're going to do it serious. And we're going to make these guys legit heroes. And it's going to be a great team. And we're going to market this like it's the next big thing. Now, again, if you want to actually do this, and these guys are like the lamest of lame superheroes, and the entire team is nothing but comic relief, and they only ever really fail into wins, at that point, I'm sold. Let's do this. I will read the tar out of it because, again, I've been itching for a good Tick style story that kind of makes fun of superhero genre, and is a little bit of a meta commentary on superheroes. If that's what they're doing, that would be awesome, but that's not what they're doing, guys. It's just
Whatever happened to, like, remember the original Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger? I mean, whatever happened to, like, manly type characters? Where are they plucking these comic book writers from? Like, let's find the nerdiest dude that we can that all he does is sits on Twitter all day, and we'll have him write a story for us. And the few people that don't buy comic books on Twitter will love it, right? I mean, where are they finding these people? What happened to, like, manly type comics and even great female written comics? I mean, what's going on?
that. You know what? That's a good question, Robert. What's going on, man? Why do we? I'm curious. Why do we as consumers put up with stuff like that?
I don't think as consumers we actually do. I think that's why some of the comic industry is faltering. We need writers like Louise Simonson. I was just talking about her today. She used to have these really in-depth stories and not just male-based. You know, we've got Gail Simone, who now writes comic books, and she wrote how did she start off? She had like not a podcast, but a what do they call
Robert.
it?
Or did
What?
we lose me?
I'm still here.
I can still hear you guys.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
I
well,
was having technical difficulties. Sorry.
That's all right. Anyways, Gail Simone wrote an article about the girl in the fridge, the girlfriend in the fridge. It was about the Green Lantern story where they took the girl and they used her basically as a plot device. Now, I make an example out of her because, yes, she wrote a good article. Yes, she made a good point. But I'm not so sure that she makes a good comic writer.
I could agree with that.
That's the kind of stuff.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that most of the writers today have been recruited from places that aren't stereotypically where the writers come from. You know, they haven't done time in their craft, and sometimes they fall short.
I agree with that. I agree with that sentiment completely. It does seem as though people have. It seems like they're trying to pull too many people from other walks of life to do stuff that they're not geared towards doing. I'll bring the example of I just lost the example that I had.
Doctor Who.
Well, that's a good one.
Oh, wow.
But I was actually going to stick with comics and talk about the guy whose kid just wrote a Spider-Man comic book miniseries.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams' son writes Spider-Man. Look, man, don't mistake it. If I had the pull and my kid wanted to write something, I'd move heaven and earth to make that happen too, probably. But the truth of the matter is, it should not come to that. You should be able to look at it and be like, yeah, you're welcome to have your kid submit their storyline and write it out and stuff. But if we don't like it, sorry, we're not. But they tried to move units based on J.J. Abrams, and I kind of think it fell kind of, in my opinion, fell kind of flat a little. So
Well, we also have Joe Hill. I mean, Stephen King's son, and he's done a pretty good job. So I mean, you can't really
right.
put them all into that basket.
I'm not trying to put them all into that basket. I'm saying that you, like Jonah Hill, you have them write it, but if it stinks, you don't still throw it out there and hope that it moves units
So we
based on
Well,
Dad's name.
so we got
well,
Pennybacker here, and he's a Turtles fan. How are the Turtles? I mean, how are the Turtles comics going? Are they satisfactory? I know like Jenica kind of pisses off our buddy Jeff Beebe. Beebe, what's up, brother? I mean, what are your thoughts on all that?
Honestly, um, honestly, Jeff, I'm not going to say he's the mouthpiece for all of us, but we definitely share the same sentiment. And basically, we all have our own ways of articulating our opinions on the character Jenica. But what it comes down to is, for over 35 years, it's been four brothers. Like, people can slice it any way they want to. People can debate it until they're blue in the face, but the fact of the matter is, for 35 years, it's been four brothers. And then in that 35 years, they've tried to bring in a female character, and it fell flat,
Venus
or
de
people
Milo.
people absolutely hated it, and it just did not work. And to that same end, it's actually the part that did it in for Eastman and Laird as a collaborative duo. And if anyone has watched either the documentary Turtle Power or the recent one, The Toys That Made Us, it explains that. And to the point, Laird explains his side of it in The Toys That Made Us, where he absolutely said that's kind of where he drew the line. Whenever they were talking about Venus de Milo in the show, The Next Mutation.
Right on.
But however, because of things as they are, they bring in a female turtle. Lo and behold, it kind of sticks for the time being because of society is how it is. And then also on the same side of that, because IDW was just about to turn face up before issue 100, it you one cannot deny it. If you want to deny it, you're lying to yourself. It absolutely was a cash grab.
Yeah.
Whenever 95 hit, there was dozens upon dozens of variants about Jenica from 95, 96, 97, and then even into issue 100. There's hundreds. I mean, a 100 alone, there was hundreds. I believe the actual number was right at around 100 variants for issue 100. Don't quote me
Oh
on the number,
God.
but it's a huge number for issue 100 alone. And majority of them featured Jenica herself, or at the most part, she was in the forefront. So it very much was a cash grab. And I mean, I understand it as a company. That's what you want. That's what you have to do, whatever. But at the same time, it's just like I said, going back to what I originally said, and I'm not going to step down from it. It's just how it is. Like, it was for whenever I started watching it to now, 35 years, it's been four brothers. And it's just, you know, Jenica can be cool for a person, and that's fine. But I guess I'm one of the original fans that I'm just not with it, but I'm just not with it.
Look, I'll tell you right now, there are some dynamics that should kind of ebb and flow, but there are some things that if you change them fundamentally, you're basically throwing away what's making the show or the comic book run. That's what you're doing.
Sure.
Now, I will tell you from kind of like again, pulling back from just the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, IDW's in trouble. Like they're in legit trouble.
Yeah, they are.
As far as almost all of their properties are licensed properties, and so they're highly leveraged in those properties being able to go forward and become Netflix shows or Amazon shows or fill in the blank shows. They're extremely leveraged towards that. And that's not news. That was happening, I think, all the way back in 2018, and it's not gotten any better. With what's going on with the Rona right now, you kind of just people gotta know that's for somebody who's walking that razor's edge already, that's not really good news. And it makes me concerned that IDW may not be long for this world, really. I that's what worries me the most about it. It from just a overall perspective, having one less publisher, those properties will go somewhere. Turtles will land somewhere. G.I. Joe, whoever else all they've got that IDW has, they'll go somewhere. It's a question of where. You know, do they try and go with another lesser known company? Does IDW get bought out in that company? Who knows, man? Who knows?
Bring him into the
Robert?
DC universe. But go
Well,
ahead.
they've done crossovers. Turtles have done crossovers with DC.
Yeah.
I remember one of the things that IDW already started doing wrong was they were changing G.I. Joe. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's
They
become
were-
G.I. Joke.
Yeah, exactly. And they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yep.
Well, let's be real here. IDW, their entertainment wing, had V Wars, which was Netflix, and October Faction, which was, I don't think that one's done anything yet. Oh no, it's on Netflix. I'm looking it up as we're talking. Now, Lock and Key is IDW. That was well received.
But that's because Jonah Hill did that.
Yeah,
World.
if you're Stephen King's son, I mean, you got to be able to write something, right?
Well, hey, look, that again, one of the reasons why he didn't use his dad's last name that way was so that he didn't make it based off of his dad's success.
Well,
Right.
and his name would be Joe King. If you put it together, Joe King,
That's
Joe
how-
King.
But that is actually kind of hilarious. Dang it, you just made Robert spit his champagne. What's the matter with you, Todd?
I was only
Jeez.
joking.
Ah.
So like, in the Turtle universe, for instance, like Jennica, like, I mean, how would you bring in a female character into the Turtle universe? I guess to appeal to female fans. I mean, I think Jennica was more brought in, like you said, as a cash grab for the guys that are going to go out and buy the first appearance and the fancy covers. But how would you bring in a female character into the Turtle universe? And then what species would you make it? Like what type of an animal?
Well, I mean, in the ID series right now, you have Alopex, which is she's kind of like a you know, kind of like a wolfish type of character, fox even. You know what I mean? I mean, and then there's Old Hob, and he's kind of like like a Cougar Mountain Lion cat type deal. I mean, you could do whatever, but I mean, honest to God, like me and Jeff my buddy Jeffrey Beebe, longtime buddy. He's like my brother. We actually, I'll let you guys in on this, and maybe you guys can use this as a jump off point to talk about. We talked about whenever Jennica first came out in issue 95, and at the time, I just did not care for the character Jenica because she came out in issue 51, and she's just kind of like an assassinish character, whatever, that had some dialogue with Splinter, whatever. I just didn't really care for her because also she was used in other aspects, like with Casey Jones and the Purple Dragons, all that stuff. I just didn't really care for her because even throughout all those issues, she just kind of felt like a character that was just there. And then so therefore they had to figure out like dialogue for or whatever. And I just didn't really. I myself as a reader just was not ever feeling that character. And so whenever issue 95 came out, I said to Jeff, I was like, how awesome would it have been for IDW if instead of using Jenica, they somehow used Karai,
Who's Karai?
the daughter, or well, in one aspect of the story, the daughter of Shredder, but in IDW, the granddaughter of Shredder.
See, I kind of am a little more okay if they use legacy characters a little bit. That's the other thing that kind of bothers me whenever people shoehorn characters in. They've got such, comic books has such a rich history in all of these universes of legacy characters. Bring them back, use them, give them some depth, and people will care about them. It also will spike markets for speculators and dollar bin divers like Dennis that might find some, random first appearance that they decide to make into a legit character. And next thing you know, people are diving in dollar bins looking for those back issues. That's my opinion.
Right?
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I could say about the new Warriors is at least they created new characters and they didn't just like change somebody. It's just that they picked a goofball writer that came up with really crappy names. I mean, I have no problem with creating new characters. I don't like flip-flopping characters or changing characters' identities, but I like this new DC wave that's supposed to happen, that's supposed to like change everybody, but I mean, just come up with new things. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Robert, I mean, what do you think about that?
Can you elaborate?
No, I can't because I drank too many champagnes.
I think honestly DC's been doing a really good job. Personally, I think that most of their comic characters, they like, take Jessica Cruz for instance. My daughter loves Jessica Cruz, but the whole deal behind Jessica Cruz is she's the new Green Lantern. I don't know how many Green Lanterns Earth needs, but apparently needs at least 2 new ones. But
Earth causes a lot of trouble.
I guess so.
I don't know if you've noticed that.
Right? So you've got Jessica Cruz, which is a diversity character if you really want to put it down to its brass tacks. But she works well with the continuity. Honestly, that's my opinion.
Well, she's a good example of what's right with adding new characters. The downside is I can give you a list as long as my arm of all sorts of characters that they've added. And it kind of came to me a little bit this week while listening to some podcasts and some YouTube videos of other YouTube creators talking about basically some of these characters that DC has been providing to us. They're plot devices. They're not actual characters. They show up to be convenient, to be a hurdle in the way, and then are never dealt with again. That's one reason why a guy like me is kind of skeptical of the designer, and I'm also skeptical of Punchline. I'm skeptical of both of those because, again, I can give you a list as long as my arm of characters, and Todd will attest to this. He knows I Mr. Bloom. Mr. Bloom's a perfect example.
You love
Everybody
Mr.
thought
Bloom.
he was supposed to be awesome. He was the hot thing in the New 52. And what have they done with him since? Nothing. Zero.
Yeah.
Plot that means he's a plot device. We may never see him ever again. Also, hot take for the moment on Batman and the designer. The designer is Alfred. He's some version of Alfred. I don't know if that's even possible because I'm not really religiously reading that book, but I want it to be Alfred. If it is Alfred, that will make me interested in it. Just again, my 2 cents on it. But and I don't know exactly how possible that is. But again, we were talking already, it's fiction. They can retcon it and make it Alfred. In some way, shape, or form, they can do it. I know they can.
They
BB,
will.
I'm down. At that point, I'm down. At that point, I'm going back and I'm getting all of the designer books at that point.
Don't call Pennybacker BB. He's
I
much,
did,
much
didn't
more
I?
handsome.
I did, didn't I?
It's cool. It happens all the time. We look alike with the big old whatever and the
Dude,
glasses. You know what I'm saying?
No lie. Jason Ingram and I kind of like the exact same thing. Like we were talking about him before. Exact same thing. Both big, bald guys with beards that have a little more white in them than they should for our age because we have knuckleheaded kids. Anyway, I digress. Pennybacker, do you have
Yeah.
opinions on the DC situation?
Well, I heard that I believe it was War Dog in one of his videos from going to his shop. He was talking about the designer and it being Alfred, and I kind of, I was kind of like I kind of like perked my attention. I was like, wait a minute. When you say, think of myself, I was like, when he said the name Alfred, surely he's not talking about, you know what I mean? But I mean, I knew about Punchline, and then talking with a dude that works at one of my shops, he was telling me about Punchline, and basically, I mean, is this right or wrong here? Is Punchline just basically like just another Harley Quinn?
Yes.
Joker's
I mean,
Joker's new
yes.
girlfriend, and basically kind of like crazy-ish.
Supposed to be a darker, more sadistic version of Harley Quinn is the way that they have said. So, in other words, if the Joker had a conscience, Harley was actually the good side of his conscience, the angel, and Punchline is supposed to be the devil. That is the way that I have heard it described in multiple occasions.
I've never heard it described like that, but that's interesting.
It's interesting to an extent. I still make it feels like to me that there's a lot of room for error in that. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, definitely. But however, my personal take on it, I've only heard about it. And then I saw at my shop that I have my pull list at, they had the thing on the shelf saying, we do have issue Batman, whatever, but it's behind the counter and all that stuff, and one per customer. But I don't read DC. My oldest daughter does. So, I mean, it just never really, grabbed my attention by my wallet. You know what I'm saying?
I gotcha. Now, speaking of the way that all shook out with the speculation and shops upping the price on it, there was one shop that I heard of that handled that situation beautifully. I wish I could remember the name of the shop because I would give them a free plug for anybody that was listening. I just don't remember the name of the shop. But what they did is, instead of bumping the price up to eBay prices, they actually said, we will sell you that issue, but you have to buy $20 worth of other merchandise first. Now, I look at that and I say that that's brilliant because they're moving stuff that they may not otherwise move. So that's a plus. But on the flip side, if for some reason that first appearance tanks and it becomes a $3 to $5 comic book long term, whoever bought that actually got value for their $20. They didn't drop $20 and see that entire investment drop to $3 to $5. They paid their $3, so they got a $3 to $5 comic book, but then they got $20 worth of extra merchandise. And to me, that's a brilliant way to do it. It serves both purposes, in my opinion, of bringing extra cash into the LCS, but also giving that added value that is, to me, is ridiculously important, especially when people are trying to just speculate.
Yeah, that is really good, man. I like that idea. I never said that I thought that the designer was Alfred. Sorry, Petty Backer.
No, I thought that was you, brother.
No, it was me. It was me. I
okay.
dropped it. I said that, and I dropped that, and it was earlier this week. I dropped it on YouTube, and I dropped it here in the group that I said, "You crazy theory time here, guys. Don't hold me to it. I have nothing to base this on other than a gut feeling, and I think it would be cool." Now, mind you, there has been a fan theory, a goofy fan theory based around the fact that Alfred was looking for something for Batman to do, and Alfred has always been behind all of the wacky villains in Gotham, and he's simply just paying them all off to keep Bruce Wayne busy. Again, a wackadoo, silly internet meme kind of theory. But if done well,
bad.
if written well, I'm down. I would read it.
I got a
Wow.
question about that.
Shoot.
Do you think that if DC found out, like say your theory went viral, do you think DC would change it just to kind of not to spite you, but to keep the mystery about the character?
Sure.
Like
Sure.
if they already had Alfred right now as the designer, would they change it just to make that mystery continue?
I think with the Rona happening the way that it is, I think that would give them the opportunity to. But I think that they're written far enough in advance, especially for a flagship like Batman, that if that were the case and the reveal was happening inside, say, the next 3 months, chances are extremely high they would not go back and undo it. But again, I think the theory is just wacky enough that based on if it went viral and they thought it was well received, I could absolutely see them changing it to be that in order that they would move units. That the big reveal is happening this issue. And guess what? It's actually Alfred. And speculators would go out and purchase those books en masse.
Well, if it was Alfred got really jacked up because, I mean, designer looks pretty big. Alfred looks a little bit smaller than the designer. Although, I mean, it could be a possibility because they have a new Dark Knight's Metal with Wonder Woman coming out. And that's where they pull out all the, everything.
Death metal or something like that, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, they could pull Alfred out of whatever universe to make him whatever. But I don't know. I do like your analysis on Punchline though. It's always the Asian chicks, ladies that are those the evil ones. Like they play the evil character in most movies. It's usually an Asian woman, and I love them. I love you, Asian women. I love you all.
that makes you so racist for noticing their racism.
Hey, man.
That makes you so racist.
What can I say? I love Asian women. Asian women, come and find me. Ming Na Wen, I love you.
All right, somebody ask a legit question before we completely derail here. Let's do this. It looks like Brian's tapping out on us in the chat down here. Let's see here.
We can wrap up the seriousness if you want right here, and then we can just go to Facebook Live and just chill.
I'm down for whatever, guys.
All right, so
let's do some final thoughts.
All right.
Did I hijack you there?
No, that's fine, man. That's fine. Who do you want to go first?
Oh no, that would be a total train wreck. I almost said let's paper, rock, scissors for it, but let's not do that. Pennybacker, let's go to you, man. You start us out with final thoughts.
Final thoughts, man. You know, we're living in mighty crazy times. I'm waiting to see if someone actually trades a slab book for some toilet paper and paper towels. You know what I mean?
Could happen.
I'm wondering if we're actually going to see that, like over on the corner market, like ISO toilet paper, 12-pack roll, you know, all that.
Charmin, I got double ply.
I got these up for trade. Know what I mean? Hit me up, you know.
Hey, you want the expensive stuff.
Hey, all I know is if you got enough X-Force 1s or Turok Dinosaur Hunters, it could maybe be used that way if worse came to worse.
Yeah, it sucks that we're not going to get this new Warriors book. I mean,
I know that could work too.
Right.
Sorry, I keep hijacking your final thought. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to speak on that because I was just wondering, because I think that'd be funny if we saw someone trying to trade for some supplies on the corner market, you know.
Would not shock me. Yeah, hey, dude, Robert probably has a stash somewhere. Probably.
Yeah, I went to camp.
Yeah, Robert.
He seems to be the kind of dude that seems like he only uses baby wipes. Drinking champagne, you know what I mean?
Hey, listen.
I have a good day.
That's what I was getting ready to say. He lives on a campsite, but he has a hillbilly bidet, and it's pretty awesome.
Hey, don't knock baby wipes, all right?
You gotta do what you gotta do, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. All right, Robert, how about you, man?
I'm not really worried about the comic industry. I know a lot of people are. They think that LCSs and stuff are going to fail. But honestly, we've been through this before. We haven't in our generation. But in 1918, we had an influenza pandemic that killed 50 million people. And the economy recovered. And all the people that I see that regard comics as important on the Collector's Corner and other sites, I don't think it's going to happen. Honestly, don't. So if you're worried about the comic industry collapsing, it had a lot bigger problems before this happened.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go in because Todd normally hits cleanup on these. That I'm going to piggyback a little bit here, but I've got one real quick first. Everybody who participated in our Tournament of Madness held during the month of March, I want to say I thank you guys for participating. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did putting it together. I want to thank Cam, because Cam Hewitt was a lifesaver. He helped me put it all together. He helped me find some of the art and stuff like that we used for everyone. Want to congratulate Spider-Man for winning this year. Last year was Batman. So we're kind of basically going through the Mount Rushmore of superheroes at this point. Maybe next year we'll find a dark horse candidate that can win. The other thing is
Ninja Turtles. What?
Hey man, you guys
Jenica.
got truckloads. You guys got truckloads of fans, and none of you turkeys voted. So that's on you. It ain't on me.
We did.
It ain't on me. It's on y'all. Whoever
It's-
won and whoever
it's on
lost, it's
y'all.
on you.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
right.
anyway, one thing that I am gonna say is that piggybacks off of Robert is we will survive. Take your precautions. Be smart. Be safe. Don't lose your mind over any of this. If you're smart and you're safe, be cool, man. There are lots of things that we can all learn from this. One of them is people who don't lose their minds are the ones that tend to come out on the other side really looking a lot better than they deserve to. And one thing I'll say is you know, there are buying opportunities and there are selling opportunities. Unless if you are extremely hard up, I would suggest trying to be on the buying side at this point if you can. Don't be financially irresponsible in buying, but some people are going to be hard up and they're going to be looking to sell books. If they tell you you're doing them a favor by giving them money for comic books, take them at their word, buy those comic books. You may in fact really actually be helping them out. The downside is they may be giving away an asset, and it may not just be comic books, there may be other things too, but they may be giving away an asset that during regular times would be much more valuable than they are currently. So that's the last thing I'm going to say on that whole situation.
Oh man, you guys have served this one up to me like perfectly. First of all,
Do it.
if you got any slab books and you need toilet paper, this is the guy right here. I have about 18 rolls, and if the book is good enough, I'll take it. I got leaves in the backyard and I got hoses. I'll jump in the shower to clean myself off if I have to. So definitely, like, if you got slab books and you need toilet paper, hit me up. Pennybacker, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, man. Right.
Second of all, I am a little. I'm a little worried about the comic book industry. I'm worried about shops mostly, and you know, I don't know how to say like go and support your shops because they're not as non-essential. But you know, keep them in your prayers, keep them in your mind. You know, it would suck to lose comic shops, even a few here or there. We love our comic shops. That's what makes it special. And then, you know, we were talking about crappy ass writers. Hey, if you're sitting home and you think that you could write a comic book, sit down and do it, because there's a lot of crappy ass writers out there. Like this dude that has Safe Space and whatever Snowflake. I mean, come on.
Sure.
You can't if you can't write better than that, then so I mean, come on. Help us out. We need it. We need it. So that's all I got to say. I'll just say peace out to everybody.
Be good or be good at it.
Hells yeah.
All righty.
Peace, man.
This one is got to figure out how to end this Facebook. Oh, okay.